Hello and welcome back to another RiftGuides WildRift video. We today are going to take a look at the best solo queue champions to make climbing very easy. Those champions feature the highest impact in solo queue standalone and are one of the most broken picks you can ask for. But before we take a look at them, let's take a look at our question of the day. How do you choose your lane to play in WildRift? What made you choose your role, and how did you ever get to the idea of what role you want to play? Let me know in the comments below. First up on this list we have Shyvana in the jungle role. This champion, contrary to before, isn't really required to get dragons anymore. You can just farm it up and speed farm and keep your GPM up high. And this is one of the key things you have to understand about jungle role in solo queue, and especially Shyvana in combination with that. Shyvana wants to farm, scale, avoid confrontation if there's no reason for confrontation, get to her spikes and then dominate the map. Shyvana's clear is really fast, utilizing her third ability into then her first ability to just dominate throughout the jungle clear. If you have that in mind, you'll just get things done very easily if you just practice the clear just a slightly bit. Once you get that on lockdown, it's understanding how your power spikes work. Once you're level 5, you become a monster. If you touch somebody, they'll evaporate. And the next power spike is Trinity Force, and after this, Blade of the Ruin King. Those items are so powerful on your champion, they'll instantly evaporate enemy champions. But there's one downside when it comes to this. You are rather squishy. So if you go for those two items, you need to understand that up until your third item, you're not really that tanky. And with that in mind, you have to play in a very specific way. But usually, your ideal clear is fully clearing your jungle, avoiding confrontation, scaling up, going for only 3 things, keeping up the GPM, going for Herald, taking down towers in the side lane because you do so well anyway, and then if anyone comes to fight you, you'll just instantly kill them. If they choose to fight you on 2 items and get tagged by your third ability, your auto tag into your first ability's auto tag reset will take away more than 50% of the enemy's HP instantly in just 1 second. And that's literally a fact. And things become really troublesome if that happens. Other than this, once you're snowballed, you're also able to just take over teamfights. If you jump in or leap into the enemy backline, clump them up together and then just destroy them with your empowered abilities, you'll see what your champion can do. And there's not much in a normal solo queue environment apart from heavy crowd control that can stop you. And let's be honest, who of those people in solo queue who always yell, "Let's pick a tank, you need to pick a tank," actually end up picking a tank? Well, it's rarely happening, and if they're playing a tank, they're running it down regardless. The next champion features the perfect misery of solo queue and the perfect gloominess you have once you enjoy the pleasures of it. It's Vex. Vex's laning phase is very potent. The moment anybody steps up to Vex, Vex can start with a third ability. You should always start with your third ability, by the way, not your first ability, that's big bait. And if you do so, you can utilize your champion's power to the fullest potential. Tagging an enemy with your third ability in early game, ideally obviously you take the bone plating away before that, allows you to instantly proc Electrocute, which takes away probably 40% of the enemy's HP bar level 1, if you take care of the bone plating that is, and then the laning phase becomes super free. Another secret about Vex is that your third ability, if you flash into it, like you cast it onto the enemy and then flash into it, will get instantly triggered. The same thing happens if you cast it instantly beneath your feet, you will instantly trigger it compared to its usual activation time. That's a little secret you have to keep in mind. Other than this, it's about the reset nature of Vex. You have to understand that even if you get resets during a teamfight, you don't want to instantly jump in again. You want to maybe wait for your second rotation of cooldowns to then go in for the kill. And then you can use this downtime between ultimate charges or casts to do the same thing again and again and again. And that way you'll never lose out on the maximum potential of damage and sit there with your pants dragged down and just be like, well, I'm kind of messed up, right? I can't win anymore. This makes it just super easy. The next champion on this list is my favorite. I've been abusing Karma ever since release. I've gone through multiple iterations of nerfs, adjustments, build pass, everything. This champion is one of the most broken champions for the support role, if not the most broken champion. It features everything you want: high damage, setup, crowd control, anything in a teamfight situation with high AoE damage, poke, everything you want from a support. Just, it's not your typical support, it's basically a nuclear missile. This champion is so powerful in what she does, there's nothing that really matches her in that regard. Her poke with her first ability, if the mantra is available, takes away 30 to 40% of the enemy's HP bar upon Luden, Prophet's Pendant and Void Stuff. As the game goes on, and the enemy is doing like little mistakes in terms of positioning, you can just use your powered second ability to connect an enemy with a closer enemy to them behind them, root them up, cast your ultimate ability on top, and your powered first ability with a meteor, and it's all guaranteed to hit. They can't dodge it unless they have stasis or like QSS or anything that lets them get away, and if they get hit by it, they'll get blown up, because it deals so much burst damage with the pen build. If you go into pure tanks, you can debate maybe going the Andres Tallman second items, but that's a different story, and in solo queue it usually just doesn't apply. But this champion is all about rotations, killing people, locking them down, and even if the enemy is trying to go for an objective such as Baron or Dragons, you can destroy them. Poke them with your empowered first ability, rain down with the meteor, use your ultimate ability to clump them up, and even if they are like on full HP when they start Baron Nashor or Dragon, you'll take them all down. Especially if they're really close together, it's a fun sight to see. The next champion I have for you is also a flexible champion. Fiora can be played in the mid lane, in the jungle role and in the Baron lane, and this champion has always been a thorn in the sides for many people. This champion's trading patterns are highly abusive and very annoying to deal with, and we are so lucky that the champion got nerfed so many times. If you think back of the previous power Fiora had with the range and the second ability's cooldown, you realize how unbelievably broken that type of kit was and still is. The only issue with Fiora is that if this champion is forced to teamfight, things get really troublesome, but if she's allowed to split push, there's nothing in her way that can stop her. She just becomes too powerful, it's like a ticking time bomb. The moment she hits too many items, she'll just instantly kill you with her vitals and her ultimate ability. There's not much you can do about this. AD carries know their tail too well, and they instantly die upon seeing this champion. But Fiora as a champion for solo queue features a lot of things we want to have. We want to have high and dominant laning pressure, we want to have crazy snowball potential, and on top of that have even more outplay potential with the way our champion functions. Given all that, the proper credit allows this champion to be an absolute demonic existence for solo queue. You just never want to play against those champions because it's always painful to do, and every time you make a mistake, this champion is able to capitalize so well on it that you become just a victim, you become prey to a Fiora, and you never want to be prey to a Fiora. And all she has to do is use her first ability, the auto-attack reset of the first ability, block vital combos of the enemy with her second ability, use the auto-attack reset on her third ability, and just kill you. It's crazy, isn't it? And if you're mechanically good enough to cast all those in a proper sequence with good timing and precise inputs, this champion is unbelievably broken. The next champion on this list is going to be Lucian. It's also the last champion for this list. This champion has always been annoying, and it's you just hate to play against it, right? Every mid laner can tell this tale that the moment they face Lucian mid lane, they're just already forsaken humanity. They're like, just get me out, please jungle, help me, please help me and get me out of this lane. And they never come. It's solo queue after all, right? And the enemy jungle will always be there. You have a freeze? Nope, the enemy jungle will be there. You just got to kill the enemy? Yes. Oh, you got to crash the wave? Enemy support is here, and it always happens. So, picking such a champion like Lucian that is so oppressive that he takes on anything in lane with absolute ease while also being able to push the wave relatively fast is a blessing. Not only that, he's also able to follow up on any skirmish in the early game and force rotations around the map, for example diving the enemy Baron lane with that rotation with that priority on mid lane. It becomes just obnoxious to deal with. And if this champion is slightly ahead and gets items, he'll just one-tap you. And for just the sake of good measure, once he has access to his ultimate ability, you're not safe. He just uses second ability into his ultimate and guns you down, quite literally. And if that's not it, he also scales pretty well into the later stages of the game if he doesn't make too many mistakes. Perfectly played Lucian mechanically, becomes something that you really don't want to face. It's too much DPS and too much damage, and the only real downside to this champion is that you get too close because you have to get really close, and if you make a single mistake you will instantly die. And that is basically the trade-off with this champion. And that's it for today's video. Leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you like the content, and come back for more tomorrow. Bye.